Hey, what's up, good people? It's J Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Hello and wake up, everybody. It's about that time. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay the Third. What's happening, people?
And you are now tuned into your favorite podcast, Q Points, the safe space for meaningful discussions about Black artistry, Black music, and everything we love in between. J Ray, what's the word? How you feeling today?
Listen, I am feeling amazing. I see we have some salt and pepper in the back, some only love in the back of you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just completely inspired. It's been a really good week. And today is hip hop's birthday when this show airs. And hip hop is 49 years old.
Listen, we up there. We getting up there. We got to be careful about how we dip it low, and because if we dip it low, we can't get back up, and that's just a part of life. It's just what it is. But we could still party and have a good time with the best of them.
Yes. How are you, Sir Daniel?
You know what? I'm pretty dope. I'm really in a good space. Had some great opportunities this past week through my 9-to-5 job, where I got to make some connections with some great people in the community in hopes of, making a pipeline for the people that I work with to improve their lives. I did something I haven't done in a long time. I went to a play. It was a matinee. It was dope. It was really for children, but it was such great writing that it sparked something that I forgot about within me, which was my love for reading when I was a kid. I went to a play called The Incredible Book Eating Boy, playing down at the Alliance Theater here in Atlanta. I think this will be the last week of their run. But it's coming back for anybody who's interested to check out the Alliance Theater here in Atlanta to see when it will come back into rotation. But other than that, I also have an update for you.
I want to hear all about it. I'm assuming this is about monkeypox. Tell me everything.
It's about monkeypox. So me and the homie, the bestie, we drove all the way down by the Flowery Branch where the Falcons play. Well, no, not where they play, where they practice. Mm-hmm. Down to the public health department where they were providing the monkeypox vaccination. Surprisingly enough, we got there super early. My appointment wasn't until 11:45. Okay. We got there at 9 a.m. We walked. All they said was, "Oh, do you have an appointment?" I said, "Yes." It was like, "Just fill this out, have a seat, and we'll call you in a second." Literally, just like that. We weren't in there more than 15 minutes, and that's including the time that they ask you to sit and chill out just in case you have a reaction, so you're there. Very, like I said, super quick and easy. You got to come back in next month for the second dose. Mm-hmm. I had no reaction. Not even, I felt just a little bit of soreness in the injection site, but that's it. So far, so good. Nothing has, nothing is out of the ordinary. And so I'm really glad, like I said last time, I'm really glad that people in the community are connecting the dots for other people. Like, hey, this is happening over here. They have slots available. Go ahead and get your vaccination there. So it was super helpful. And, the ride down was fun. It wasn't that long. We cackled the whole time down there and laughed. And I just had a great time. It was a great way to start off the week.
Nice. And on my end, it's interesting. So speaking of community, I got a inbox from my brother literally just a few hours ago. And it was about the fact that the Philadelphia Department of Health were scheduling appointments for the monkeypox vaccine. Now, mind you, that's not where I live, because I still haven't heard anything about where I live and in my county. Another conversation. But what's really dope is actually my local video. There's like a online video station here called CMP radio, I believe. I'm getting that right. But the doctor there, Dr. Motley, she is talking about monkeypox, I think, tonight. So I think that conversation is taking place tonight. So within Chester, there are people that are beginning to have this conversation, and that's really, really dope. So I'll make sure that I tune into what Dr. Motley had to say. But I called the Philadelphia Department of Health at 5:10, and I was on hold for 35 minutes. They close at 6, and they were very clear, like, the hold is long. Wow. We close at 6. You might get disconnected when it's time. Wow. So at 5:35, I was still number 10. I started at number 20, and it took me about 30 minutes to get to number 10. So I wasn't going to make it. What I realized is that I was not going to make it. And so my brother, I asked my brother about it, and he emailed. So I'm going to actually email tonight and see if somebody calls me back. And then I'm going to wake up early tomorrow morning. I'm going to call. So I am now in the loop-de-loop of trying to get an appointment. So that's my monkeypox update. But as me and Sir Daniel have said, y'all, monkeypox, one, is not an STI. So that's really important. And monkeypox is not a gay-only disease. Anyone can contract monkeypox. So remember that. Look into it if you're interested in the vaccines. They ain't easy to get, but do the work.
And now they're talking about cutting it, giving you a little smidgen, like a little taste.
What? I saw that, and I'm like, what now?
I don't know. I don't know, that we can't even get into that, because that's above my pay grade. I don't get it. I don't know. But in other news, please fill me in on Saturday's art exhibit featuring the one and only J Rae. Did you sell some pieces? That's what I
sold lots of work, yo. Philly showed up and showed out.
That's what's up.
Very, very proud of it. Before I start that, I want to congratulate you on, of course, another dope episode of Sugar Honey on the Rocks. The City Girls, you know what I mean?
Edition. That was fun, actually. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you was in your bag too. Like, that's like totally just stuff that you into, so it makes sense.
That's true.
But exhibit wise, we did it at the bike stop. It was called Art Stop 2. I presented a series of work that I called For Most of the Time, because it was literally a retrospective of work that I've done since 2013. And very, very good turnout. We were on the third floor of this bar. Most people had never been up there, me included. There's a club up there, but they don't use that floor anymore. So there's a bar, a huge dance floor, projection screens, DJ booth, the whole 9 yards. So my brother, my aforementioned brother, who goes by the DJ name Disco Disciple, because if you know my brother, that makes sense, spun for the first
Nice.
time in public and killed. He should have taped that set.
Get a disco disciple. That's what's up. Well, I'm super proud of you. I know how hard you work. I know what kind of work you do. So it's about time that you exhibited those pieces. Like, you've been behind the lens for a long time, and you have a great eye. So I'm very glad to hear that you had a great turnout. And yeah, glad we both had a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it just seems like we can't go a week without saying goodbye to an icon. And this week we had to say goodbye to Olivia Newton-John,
Yeah.
which, was quite shocking. I must say, my heart was warmed by seeing how many young people knew exactly who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And were saddened by her transition. She fought breast cancer for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's nothing to shake a stick at. So rest in peace to Olivia Newton-John. I think you know what my favorite Olivia Newton-John song is, because I played it one time and you kind of looked at me like, okay, so but this is very Sir Daniel of him to like that kind of song. But yeah, my favorite Olivia Newton-John song is Magic, but I'm sure a lot of people. Yeah, see, that's the
Magic
face.
is a great tune. Like, Magic is, of all the Olivia Newton-John songs that I know, Magic is my favorite. I have a fondness for Xanadu just because that movie.
Yes.
God bless Xanadu. I will probably watch it this weekend.
High Camp, one of the campiest movies of its time, and it was just so ridiculous, but it lives on in camp culture. So, and of course, the younger folks, all different generations, especially knew her through Grease.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's going to keep, because that's something that keeps in production in all schools across all generations. So her name will continue to live on. So again, rest in peace, Olivia Newton-John. But we do have to pay respect to another fallen soldier, Mr. Lamont Dozier.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Who's if you talk about pen game. Now that's when you talk about pen game, he's like the OG of pen game.
Absolutely.
We are talking about, where is my list? Let me get my list, guys.
Your
Baby,
long
I need your
list.
loving. Baby, I need your loving. Baby love. Come see about me. Heat wave. How sweet it is. I can't help myself. Reach out, I'll be there. Stop in the name of love. Iconic songs. Where did our love go? You can't hide from love. Of course, he was a staple at Motown.
Absolutely.
And he literally gave those foundation groups their biggest hits.
Yep. Man, oh my gosh. The songwriting, just the brilliance of the songwriting team of Holland Dozier Holland, amazing. And yes, just absolutely sending love to the family of Mr. Lamont Dozier. Our existence as music lovers, he is the foundation of why we do what we do here at Q Points. Mm-hmm. Like, those songs that you just named off, we can sing every one of those songs. That's the mark of a legend.
Yep. And those songs are how old, J. Ray?
55, 60 years. No, yep. 60 plus years old we're talking now.
Right. That is absolutely correct. So our hats off to you. Well done, Mr. Dozier. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And one more thing, J. Ray, before we get into our show and introduce our special guest, because I'm excited.
Yes.
So the news broke this week that the Breakfast Club is no longer the Breakfast Club as we know it. This is like the third broadcast show that we discussed on this show today. And we're like, what is going on? Everybody's going through changes, but Angela Yee is breaking out into her own. I don't know if it's going to be a morning show, but she's breaking out into her own show on the network.
Yeah. iHeart. It's an iHeart show. From what I understand, just from hearing her talk about it today, it is going to be a morning show of it's going to be a syndicated show.
Oh.
That's her own show. And I think she said more. They don't know. You know what? I'm lying. They don't know the time slot yet. She was like, I can't announce it yet because we don't quite know what my time slot is going to be. Yeah. But so she's got her new show, which is going to be syndicated, like a syndicated show. She's also got her podcast, which is winning. Angela Yee has built a media empire. And what I was so happy about is watching Envy and Charlemagne just kind of like give her, like, grill her, but also are like, y'all, this was planned. Like, we knew she was gonna like say that. We knew that this was happening, but we still gonna give her the business until she leaves here.
Of course, like most big brothers would do, we're gonna punch you a couple times, but to your point, Angela moved real quiet. Like you say, she did build this empire. She's got several businesses, and she moved real quiet. And I kind of like that. That's how you're supposed to do things. You just kind of hit people like with the huzzah, I'm here, and y'all gonna deal with it. So pretty interesting. I'm interested to see what the Breakfast Club will look like afterwards, because they, for better or for worse, like it or not, they have become a staple in Black broadcast history. Like it or not. I know people have their feelings about Charlemagne. They have their feelings about everybody on that show. Mm-hmm. But like it or not, it has become a staple. It's become iconic. It's, as far as Black broadcasting is concerned. Yeah.
So we definitely send love out to Angela Yee. That was because last night it was funny when I saw the tweet, and I was like, cryptic. It was real cryptic. I wasn't sure if like the show was ending or like what was happening, but then to learn, because from what she said was her plan. She had always wanted her own show. Like she's working towards a goal. Like this was always a thing. So they were pitching something that she thought would be that she could stay on the Breakfast Club, but also do her own thing. And then it turns out they were like, actually, we want to just have you do this and not that. So change of plan.
And that's just how it is in radio and in broadcasting, period, the business, period. And I'm certain there's, non-competes that have to be honored. So, yeah. But shout out to her. Shout out to Angela Yee. But J-Ray, let's get to it. I love when we have guests. I do.
Listen, y'all, we are blessed. I'm going to read this brother's bio because it's meaty. And we are so honored to have him here with us on Q Point. So I'm going to read the bio and then we're going to bring him on. But DJ R-Tistic is an internationally acclaimed DJ hailing from Los Angeles, California. He is a graduate of Florida A&M, which is where his passion for DJing came into fruition. DJ R-Tistic has become one of the entertainment industry's favorite DJs, and he has DJed special events for, listen to these names, y'all: Issa Rae, Diddy, Stevie effing Wonder. Okay.
Wow.
What? Wow. Snoop Dogg, Jada Pinkett Smith, Lena Waithe, Common, who I just wrote an article about. I need to put that in the chat. Floyd Mayweather, and Marlon Wayans, to name a few. This is a big deal. He is known for his high energy sets, along with his expert level crowd reading abilities, which is why he is here for this conversation. He has DJed in 7 countries outside of the U.S., including Nigeria, Jordan, Ghana, Jamaica, and France. Folks, welcome DJ R-Tistic.
Hey.
What's good?
What's happening?
I made it through. I had to come through with y'all. What's the word?
Listen, I'm thrilled because I had the honor of being on your podcast, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Oh no, pleasure was mine. And so funny, J-Ray, do you know R-Tistic was here in Atlanta for a was it a Rock the Bells event? Yes, it was a Rock the Bells event. We were in the same space. And walked right past each other. didn't, I was looking for my people, and he was, of course, on a mission doing what he was doing, and we just kind of like, pew, two ships in the night, just walked past each other. Then I was like, later on that evening, I was like, hold up, he was here in town. Get out of here. And he's always in town. He's always traveling around. Listen, you are doing what a lot of DJs want to do, and that's constantly gig and, and travel with it. So in this day and age, what do you attribute to that? It's a blessing, because it's a blessing.
You're right about that. It's something. Yeah, it's something that I can't take for granted at all. I would say one of the main reasons I gig so much is just, aside from me doing it forever, because a lot of DJs have been doing it forever too, of course, but it's just because I've been able to kind of expand and hit so many different crowds. It's where a lot of times on the surface, it just sounds like, all right, you're a hip hop DJ or R&B DJ, and it sounds limiting on the surface, but it's so much beyond that, because it's about, can you tap into each and every crowd that likes different types of hip hop and R&B? At this point, we have a full 4 full decades of hip hop, and R&B can go 7, 8, 9, 10 decades, depending on what you call R&B. So it's like, obviously, a lot of times people do focus on 2000s R&B, 90s, 2000s R&B hip hop, but when you can go not only to different decades, but then different regions, and that's why I'm always traveling, is because hip hop at this point, like, it's everywhere you go is going to be different, even within one city. I'll say even for Atlanta to be, it's kind of interesting with Atlanta, because it's been the home of hip hop since the mid 2000s. Like, New York is the birthplace, obviously, but as far as just the home of most of the new hip hop and sounds and trends, it's Atlanta. Even with that, when I go out there, I can go to 10 spots and hear 10 different styles of music, all black DJs, all black sounds of music. But it's like, and even with just Atlanta music, you can go, at this point, 90s Freaknik is different from what Outkast and Goody Mob did. That's different from Trillville and Lil Jon. That's different from the Crank That movement. That's different from Young Thug and Baby. It's just so many different types just for Atlanta alone. So for me, it's just about being educated within each of these regions, and just each of those subgenres to me.
Wow. Oh, that's bringing up a lot. So what is kind of your prep? Like, when you are traveling the world the way that you do, like, how do you decide, like, okay, how do you get ready to go from venue to venue? Is there, like, what's your formula for that? How do you figure that out?
For me, because one thing that DJs always say when they see my crates are like, anybody else calls them playlists, but for Serato, we call them crates. So it's just different folders that, however you organize it. Everybody always tells me that I have supposedly the most organized crates they've ever seen. But with that, is where the crates are just so specific. I have one for each state, for each decade, for each like subgenre. I have one just like Afrobeats is here, dancehall is here. Then I'll have like eclectic selection type K-Tronada music. Then I have one for 90s house. For Atlanta, I have 3 different decades of Atlanta crates. I have 4 different ones for LA. And then it's broken down so much that whenever I go out of town or out the country, I don't really have to prep a whole lot, but unless it's somewhere I haven't been before or somewhere that I'm not familiar with. But usually what I do is this, wherever I go, is ask the local DJs there, like, what's some of the songs that are working here that I might not be as familiar with. But even beyond that, I like to go out in that place before I actually DJ, especially when it's a domestic gig, because if it's Houston, Atlanta, New York, Philly, Jersey, Chicago, I like to go out to a club that's a similar crowd to where I'll be DJing the next night, so I can just kind of hear it. Because even when somebody tells you what to play, it doesn't really always work. You got to know how to play it, what type of set it fits in with, what part of the song to play and what part of the song not to play, because certain songs you want to skip that first verse to get straight to the second verse. Certain songs you got to let that third verse play. Certain songs they only want to hear that chorus, but you got to play that one chorus. So it's just about knowing the nuances of each song. So I like to still hear like exactly how it's played, and what how I can use it to my benefit.
Absolutely. And see, you walked right into my next question, or discussion point is I follow R-Tistic on Twitter, and he's great about bringing up these very DJ specific topics, and we all of us, other DJs follow, and we correspond and talk about these different topics. But just like you said, when you go to a venue and when you're actually playing, and something just doesn't land, you just like, I just knew this song, I just knew this was going to hit. I just knew the people was going to give me that ooh ah from the crowd. I was going to feel all of that from them. And when you drop it, it does not land. It's like they're all preoccupied. They're looking in their phones. They're not giving you what you thought you were going to do. What's it like for you to recover? Or how do you, I know recovery for us, we just have to keep doing it. We just have to keep practicing, keep playing, and you just have to be ready. But for DJ R-Tistic, what's recovery like when something just does not land like you thought it was going to land?
I mean, the thing about it is, like, DJing is really like the closest entertainment profession to being a psychic, because the whole night you're just predicting what a crowd's going to like. You never, ever, ever know. I don't care how experienced you are. I don't care how much of a legend you are. You never, ever, ever, ever know how a crowd is really going to receive each and every song. It could be a song that works every night for a whole year. Now, one night it doesn't work, or it could be a song that you in somebody's hometown and you know this is a local classic, and you play it and it's like, oh, maybe they're tired of this song, or maybe this crowd is too young for it. Maybe this crowd is too old for it. Like, you never, ever know. So to me, I always say the most important song you play all night is the next song. So it's like, no matter what you playing, it's like, whether you playing something good, great, or whack, it's all about what are you coming with next. So whenever it doesn't land, it's different ways to get them back. Like if they rocking with you all night, it's easier to get them back anyway. Like they might not even trip that much, but a lot of times I use that time to you might even do like, I might use mic tricks just to kind of, all right, they're kind of dead. All right, so where my birthdays at? All right, where my tequila drinkers at? Where my, HBCU? I might just use some type of shout out points just to keep the energy going, or whatever it is. I might use that to shout out the bartenders, or I might, whatever it is, just to kind of like match that moment. But one thing about me is I actually study comedians a lot when it comes to DJing too, because being a comedian it's a lot of parallels to being a DJ. I have a lot of comedian friends too. So it's like, one thing about that is that one technique I use from comedians is don't bail. Like one thing about comedians is if you're telling a joke and a joke is not landing, but they always say don't bail. You might be halfway through the joke. You can just tell they're not going to really respond to it, but don't bail. Just keep on pushing through. Do whatever you can to kind of hype it up. And then if it doesn't land right away, just switch up the whole topic, but just pick out something. While you're still saying that joke, have something in your head to get them back. So the same way with DJing. Like if I play a song and it don't land, I'm not going to just switch it within 4 bars. Like, oh, it didn't work. It's certain songs I'm still going to let ride for a verse or a chorus at least. And then it's all about like having something as a backup, because whatever I drop, I already have something in mind for where I'm going next for the next couple songs. So I might say, all right, if maybe this set is burnt out, maybe I can switch the whole topic up and go to a different genre, or either I'm gonna stay in this genre, but I'm gonna go with a harder hitter that I know is more guaranteed. But it's like I'm always thinking, all right, what's gonna happen next? So it's kind of different ways to go with it.
I receive everything that you just said. And it's true, J Ray. Like we really have to sit up there, and there is a lot of future planning when it comes to DJ. That's what I call it, future planning. Yeah. I give you for instance. So at Rocksteady, I play R&B. Yeah. I play R&B, slow jams, sing-alongs, whatever. One night, I drop, and I try not to this song is a crutch, but I try not to drop it too many times. But I'm dropping Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell. One Sunday, everybody's just singing along. The whole club is going, the whole restaurant is going up. Yeah. People standing up, they singing along to each other and at the top of their lungs, and I could pull it down at the high part, everything, and it's just a lovely experience. Following Sunday, dry. People are just they eating, they drinking. They don't care about what I'm doing right now. They just in what they're in. And you know what? I have to be okay with that. That's a technique. That's something that I came in with. I have to be okay with the fact that they're preoccupied. They're doing what they're doing. My job, like you said, is just to keep it moving and to keep the next song be even better and continue building. So So J Ray, when you hear DJs talk like this, we really put a lot of thought into what we do. I think DJs deserve a lot of respect for what we do. We spend a lot of money on equipment. It's not a game out here. We really are working.
So,
facts. Yeah.
You know what? Before we jump into, because to DJ Sir Daniel's point, there's something we want to chat about with you that I'm sure you've heard about over the last week or so. But just that idea of like crowds, like how have you seen, if at all, like how do you think crowds have evolved in kind of like our current TikTok moment, like in the way that folks consume music? Do you see a change in how crowds behave?
It's where so when I was in Atlantic City, Jersey, doing the NAACP convention, they had me doing the youth parties too, as many the college crowd. And with college crowds, I feel like the more and more time goes on, I feel like basically is where a lot of times younger crowds just have a very short attention span. But overall, I think one of the biggest changes I've seen is that DJs aren't always the ones to break music first, and people don't always respond well to brand new music. So it's always funny when I do see people on Twitter and Facebook talk about DJs play the same exact songs and they don't try to play anything new and break new music. And I'm like, now music is broken through the SoundClouds and Mixclouds and these Apple and Tidal playlists. So people aren't always excited to hear a brand new song. So it's like I still play plenty of brand new stuff every week, every night, depending on what type of crowd it is, depending on what time my set is. At that, it's certain crowds and certain sets. If I'm hired as the headliner to go at 12:30, I can't really play anything brand new unless I know it's going to hit and it fits perfectly within that set. But aside from that, it's where crowds used to be used to hearing new stuff. Because I remember being back in college where I remember the first time I heard songs like Pump It Up from Joe Budden, which is a joke of a song now, but at the time, that song was a banger. I don't care what you say back when it came out. Like, I was early college. I was a hit, and in certain songs I can remember hearing for the first time. I remember hearing the Ying Yang Twins Whisper song the first time, and I couldn't hear the lyrics because it was like all bass in there, but I remember just saying this bass line is hard, though. I don't know what's going on, but that 808 is hitting, but it's like the crowd danced to it. But nowadays, a lot of times crowds are so used to, not only are they not used to hearing songs brand new in the club, but it's vice versa, where they hear music before us or same time as us, because it's like these songs come out the same time every Thursday at midnight, which is 9 p.m. Pacific time, so we can play it at a club in LA at 10 p.m. But it's where people come up to us like, I've been at the club at 10:30, like, hey, play that new whatever. Like, I'm like, when did it come out? Oh, it came out an hour ago. And it's like, they already heard it because it came out an hour ago. And it's like, when it comes to that, it's like, we're not the ones who are able to hear it first. So a lot of times they come to us. And then with that, some crowds know it the first night, some crowds don't. Like, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but like Beyonce Break My Soul, the first night I got it, I played it that night at my spot, The Dime. It was more men that night, and that's even deeper topic we'll talk about. But like, it was more men, so they didn't really respond to it. But that second night, the women all knew it already that very second night. So it's like, it's where depending on who it is, it can help us because everybody gets it at the same time on Twitter. So certain crowds are gonna know it, but then certain crowds who are not on social media, they might not hear it for 2 or 3 more weeks. So it's crowds are different with that too. Before I move on, it's like every crowd now is so much different based on, you can tell who's in touch with social media and who's not. I have certain crowds where these TikTok, these trending songs, like say this year it's the anniversary A Bay Bay, the Jersey Club remix. At certain clubs, as soon as I play that, the whole crowd's doing that little moonwalk dance. It's other crowds that might be the same exact age, but if they're not social media savvy, they'll be like, what is this? They're confused to it. They think I'm playing the original song. And they're like, why is he playing Anniversary Tony in the middle of a crunk set? So it's like, it can be confusing with that too.
Wow. So many valid points. And you definitely have led into one of the conversations that Sir Daniel and I wanted to have with you. So there's been a lot of slander of DJs that has just come up in the zeitgeist, it appears. So we're going to play a quick clip. This is going to be a clip of Travis Scott very recently. And we're going to talk about a couple of other things after this, but let's see.
Yeah.
You talking about hurting my soul?
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's like, for what? What was the purpose?
What was the purpose? So what we want to talk about, okay, so we have that, which was like, wow. And then we had, of course, the Wiz Khalifa speaking to the DJ. And you said something that helps folks to understand how the music moves. And I want to make sure that we highlight that, in that you're like, listen, artists are putting the songs out. People are getting the songs real fast. And if you DJing, you like, I may not have heard that joint yet. You know why? Because I'm here. Like, I'm working.
I was shaking up when it dropped. Yeah.
Exactly. And here you come pushing a flash drive in my face where I might be in the middle of something, and then I have to worry about switching over from, it might be a CDJ, and I have to worry about switching over from a CDJ to a flash drive, then have to scroll through your whole catalog that you have on there to find the song that you're talking about. I don't know what the cue sounds like. I don't know
if it's mastered. I don't know if the song is dissing the club owner. It might be dissing somebody who's in there with us. It might be dissing me. Who knows? I ain't heard it yet. Yeah.
Wow, that is, you just broke down layers of what can, you mentioned one, mastering, because you as a DJ need to know what that song sounds like. You might drop that joint and it's like distortion everywhere because it's blowing the speakers.
Yeah.
You don't know what the lyrical content is, all of that different stuff. So wow, what I also hear you saying is, as a DJ, y'all are holding a lot of things as you are playing to a crowd.
Yeah, because it's like, you never know what the song is really saying, because especially if it's a brand new artist or a random artist, or even somebody asking for something that I haven't heard before. It's like, I can hear it for 5 seconds in my headphones, and I can tell within those 5 seconds, all right, that beat is cool enough so it can probably work sonically, production-wise, but even with that, who knows what the lyrics are saying? It might be homophobic. It might be anything that's offensive to the crowd there. So it's just like, it's still a risk and a gamble for us to play a brand new random song that we haven't heard yet. We never know what's on it.
Wow.
And so back to Wiz Khalifa specifically.
Yeah.
The approach was super disrespectful. The approach was really violent and aggressive for no reason. I mean, he said what his reasons were behind his behavior, but I still don't see the merit in it, in that kind of behavior. But of course, like everybody, when you do something and it's caught on social media and it makes you hot, and you have a new project coming out and you want to go on an apology tour, he did just that. And he went on somebody's show and he gave an apology, kind of, sort of.
I guess you call it that. Yeah.
And so I know how I feel about it. I wanted to hear from you. Like, do you accept Wiz's apology, as it were?
I mean, so the whole thing is, I know the DJ and the MC who were doing it that night. Like, I saw Mikey literally the day I saw that video, the same exact day. So it's like, it happened the night before. It happened on a Friday. I saw Mikey that Saturday. We were just talking, chilling. Like, he didn't mention it. I had no idea. So a few hours later, my homegirl sends me the video, and I'm just like, wait, that happened? And it's like, it's where, of course, when you talk to the DJs and the MC, and then you talk to, or you hear people who claim to be with part of a Wiz. I mean, not even just that. Even I know folks from Wiz side who were there too, and some of them are my folks. So it's like, some of them kind of had their explanation of what happened. My whole thing is, it's one of those situations where no matter what they did, if they didn't push him, if they didn't cuss him out, if they didn't do anything disrespectful, they don't deserve to be pushed. They don't deserve to have their hats thrown out in the crowd. I feel like Wiz kind of picked and chose his target. I feel like is where he was pushing them, but he would have did that to every DJ. I know DJs who, especially some of my homies from LA, I'm not even going to say who they are, but there's certain ones who, if he had did that to them, it would have been a problem right there and outside. It would have been where, as soon as he left the stage, it would have been a problem if he had even made it off stage. You feel me? So it's like, it's one of those type things where that's another reason why I don't respect what happened. So it's like, I heard what he said, his apology. Maybe I didn't hear the whole clip, but what I heard, I didn't hear him actually apologize. I heard him explaining what happened. And he was saying, like, some of these young DJs just need to be kind of hazed or trained, and kids ain't, don't get spankings anymore. Whatever he said in those terms was like, he was almost making a joke out of it to me. So I feel like with that, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna play a Wiz song again. Like a lot of us were saying that we haven't been playing this music lately anyway, which is where like, he's never been a club artist. Of course, he had We Them Boys. He had songs that we obviously did play, but it's like overall he's more of a vibes artist and a club artist anyway. But it's certain songs that he's featured on with my homies. I mean, he got songs with Ty Dolla $ign and Problem and Snoop and everybody else who's LA who we rock with. So I'm gonna still play those songs, obviously. But it's just like overall, I don't believe in canceling every single artist for everything that they do. But because of what he did, he apologized. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna forever cancel him and erase his music, but I still don't rock with what he did. So that's all I can say. I don't agree with what he did, how he did it. And as far as with Mikey and you know what they told me how it happened from their perspective, it's like even if they did mess up, even if Tron was talking over the song, Tron is a type, he the homie, but he can get hype. He can talk a lot. He might be, you know, bring this song back, whatever it was. They're the resident DJs for that club where they do it often anyway. It wasn't like the whole party was Wiz's album release party. It might have been a flyer that said Wiz album release party. That don't mean that the party was thrown for Wiz. Mm-hmm. It happens to be a club that's every week. They happen to have him there as the guest host. So it's like in that moment, who knows what they were thinking? They might have felt like the crowd's not rocking with whatever we do. So Tron might have been trying to hype it up. He's a type that's going to be, hold up, bring that back. No, There's a hit right here. You know, it's Wiz Khalifa, brand new music. He's right here with us. You know, you need to get more hype for it. So it could have been that. I wasn't there to see it. But overall, I trust their judgment. And Wiz is a professional. He's been doing it forever. So I just wish he hadn't taken those measures of actually being physical with it. That was too much.
Yeah.
Wow. That was, yeah. So thank you so much for weighing in on that. That is definitely, both Sir Daniel and I seeing that was like, no.
Yeah. Unnecessary.
Absolutely. And I'm such a fan of DJs. Obviously, I work with a DJ every week, and my artistic career essentially started with DJs. So, and I believe in the power of what y'all do. So, yeah. So, I got a question for the both of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm really into tech stuff. And it was funny. Like I've been watching some of your videos, R-Tistic as well, and been seeing you like playing around with some, I'm like, oh, that's like dope. I've read about that. So I'm thinking for the future, are there any DJ tech things that y'all are excited about? And what are they and why are you excited about them?
I personally can't say there's anything I'm excited about right now. I'm excited about getting some new turntables because you know I love spinning vinyl. I would like to get back into some Serato and get the phasers so I don't have to always wear my needles out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I would like to upgrade to that at some point. But for me, the stage that I'm in and what I'm into, the artistry that I'm into right now, it's more so about the music. It's more so about the digging, the vinyl. That's where I'm at right now. But I love seeing all the technology and I love seeing the things that people can do with it. So, and I'm always definitely down to learn. And if I have an opportunity, like Rocksteady has been a blessing in the fact that I got to learn on their equipment because I never touched the stuff. Because sometimes you can't afford more equipment and that a lot of people are using all the time. So it's like, you know, shout out to DJ Precise for the for the tutorials telling me, hey, come on down. I'm spinning right now and I need you to be able to work this equipment. So I need you to come down and watch me do this and I'll teach you how to do it while I'm playing. And you're like, sure, I'll run down and do that because that's what you do. And so that's pretty much it. But R-Tistic, I'm sure there's some tech that you are really getting into now because things are getting smaller, they're getting more compact. And
for me, I did get the Rev 7. Like I've always been, I won't say I've been anti-controller. It's just that I've never liked controllers. I never liked how they feel. I never liked anything about them. And also the interface. I'm very picky about just the mixer interface. So the fact that the Rev 7 is the same as the S11, S7, S9, because like even with effects, like I'm a type that just loves using effects. I used to be a producer before I was a DJ, so I like to kind of play around with the effects, not to where it's masking transitions, not to where it's like masking any skill or deficit in skill, because that's how some old heads see it. They see it like, or if you gotta use effects, you use that because you can't blend right. It's like, I don't have to use an effect, but it adds to it. It's just adding flavor to it. So with the Rev 7, it's my favorite controller because it's all in one piece, and it's the closest thing to feeling like turntables as not turntables, aside from like the Rain 12. So it's all in one piece. It's easier to connect. So I don't use it all the time. Whenever I'm actually doing an event where I can have a writer and have somebody set up equipment for me, I'm still gonna get an S11, S9, and turntables, period. But when it comes to something that I have to bring my own equipment to, and I don't feel like having to bring out my turntables and mixer, that's the easiest thing. So that's probably the best thing that I've been using recently. On the flip side, I've mentioned on Twitter that now there's a whole new debate with some arrogant folks who are anti-laptop,
and it's like that.
And it's mainly what I've heard. I don't want the homie DJ Crooked to say that I'm stereotyping EDM versus hip hop again. That's a whole other story. But basically, from what I've heard, is more so EDM DJs more so than hip hop DJs. But they're just bringing flash drives to the club, and there's some hip hop DJs I've heard too who bring a flash drive and plug it into the CDJs, and you don't have to have a laptop. And it's like, to me, that's a good backup option. I would love to. I mean, I'll probably keep a flash drive in case I have to switch out, or if the laptop is tripping or something. That's a cool backup. But to me, it's like, it's always funny whenever new technology comes out and then people end up being arrogant about it, because people are either arrogant about being traditionalists or about being advanced. So 15 years ago, you were arrogant because y'all using a laptop. No, I'm on turntables. I'm using real vinyl. So now the fact that they're going opposite, now it's like, I heard some of them say, yeah, you don't have to depend on your laptop to mix because we're using USB. I'm like, if you want to be arrogant about it, get some vinyl, because you're still using technology. You're still using a flash drive, and you're still using digital files. So you can't be so arrogant to me if you're not using vinyl. Like, the only person who I can respect for being arrogant is somebody who's all vinyl with no technology at all. But aside from that, it's like, y'all got to chill. Like, it sounds stupid to me.
That's so interesting. So I've been working with DJs for a long time. So from turntables and then CDJs and then USBs. So the house DJs that I've worked with, all of them have been using USBs for like ever. So, and it's just like one of them things that, well, one, for outdoor events, it becomes easier because when you're doing summer events, your laptop overheats. So the USBs,
happened to me.
Right. It eliminates that problem. So I know that a lot of them do it that way because it's like, at least I ain't got to worry about my computer overheating. So that's so interesting how folks will make a thing out of stuff.
It happens all the time on TikTok. R-Tistic, have you been surprised at how many people are suddenly A&Rs and know everything about songwriting and publishing? It's like all of a sudden everybody's they're all these experts. Twitter is a wild place when it comes
everybody
to
knows everything. Everybody's an expert at everything. Even people who work industry think they know every single thing. That, like, I might mention, why is this song not bigger? And they come, well, because the label something. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know for sure that's what happened? So
when the tweet starts off, well, actually,
that's a running gag at this point. Well, actually,
Can we we got a surprise for DJ R-Tistic. I think this is the perfect time to do the surprise. So we're going to play the surprise and then we'll be right back.
All right. Let's see.
DJ R-Tistic. Yo, bruh.
Oh, wow.
I love the I Want to Be Down idea. It is just so fucking dope. It so brings it into now. And I would have never thought of that. That's one of the best uses that I've seen of that sample, man. Thank you. All the best to you. Keep killing them, bro. DJ R-Tistic. Yes.
That's insane. Hey. Appreciate you for that connect. I had no idea he heard it. Like, that's always wild to me. The funny thing is, I did Brandy's daughter's party about 2 months ago. One thing about Brandy is that she doesn't like hearing her own music at the club or at parties. And I learned that 6 years ago when we had a spot called Tiffany's. We were doing Supreme Lounge and my boy Bad was DJing, and he told me that back then. Like, she doesn't like hearing her own songs. So even when I did the party for her, I played like 2 throwbacks that she probably forgot about. I played the Rock With You she did with Heavy D with Quincy Jones, and she just gave me a look, just kind of like, really? And I'm like, it bangs though. And then it was funny because her daughter Sarai was just like, that's Mom, huh? So her daughter hadn't even heard it before, which is crazy. But it's like, I wanted to play that remix, but I was just like, what if I play it and she don't like it? Or what if she, even though she was cool as hell, she's good people. That's my folks. But I was like, I don't want to play it and she gets mad. But, I probably should have just tried it. But, yeah, it's dope to see that video. So appreciate y'all for that.
Absolutely. And I was telling J Ray, I was like, he's going to really enjoy that from Kipper, because sometimes we just play around and we make blends of records and we're like, oh, this is really cool. And I wonder if, you always wonder, would the artists like this? Will people like this? Should I go public with it? Well, you heard it from the songwriter's mouth. That was hot.
That's validation. So much love to y'all for that, though. Thank y'all for that.
For sure. For sure.
I'm definitely taking that clip and posting that one.
Yes, we will. We made it. We will make sure that you have it. But he immediately texted me and was like, that was dope. I was like,
wow. Oh, thank you for that, though. I remember when I was making that blend, it's one of those things where, because it was right when I made it 4 years ago. It was back when Boot Up was the biggest song in the whole world. And I was like, I should throw a 90s song on top of it. The first song I experimented with was actually Subway and 702, this little game we play. Yeah. And that's way slower, but I was able to make it the same key. And I was like, it kind of worked, but it don't really hit hard enough. It's just, I'll try something else with that. And I was like, the second song I tried was Brandy. And I was like, oh, this just, it works somehow. So, yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Much love for that. Yeah.
That's what's up. So I'm glad we had that moment with Kipper. That shout out to Kipper Jones. Friend, family to the show. We're having a really great time with DJ R-Tistic, going down memory lane with some of his best blends. Shout out to Kipper Jones, friend and family to the show, for that shout out. But now's the time that we really get into the topic that we really called upon you to discuss. Because again, Twitter is a wild place all of a sudden when it comes to music and music opinions. Everybody's got one and everybody is an expert. Of course, everybody's been talking about Beyonce's latest album, The Renaissance, or just Renaissance, which dropped a week ago. And a lot of people were enthused and excited because it was a throwback to ballroom. It was a throwback to club music, to dancing. People were excited. People that were excited about that club atmosphere and dancing again completely embraced it. But then, of course, there's always going to be some pushback. And we kind of saw this coming all the time. We kind of saw this when Drake, a few weeks prior, dropped his album, and we saw some pushback to him from the same section of the community that we're about to talk about this evening. But of course, it came to fruition in one single tweet, and this was the tweet. I was like, J Ray, we got to talk about this. This gentleman, Mr. Mess, which I think is a hilarious name in of itself, tweeted that Mr. Mess, that there's been a number of conversations around Beyonce's Renaissance album that have been dope. In the future, please include hetero Black men because we love Bey too and can bring a different perspective to the discussion. Thanks. I believe all of this probably came up for this gentleman because a lot of the promo behind the album, a lot of the talk around the influences of the sound were centering queer culture, centered around ballroom culture, which is of course largely Black and Latin and gay, and so I automatically, Black cisgender heterosexual men shut that down. They were like, I don't want nothing to do with that. They don't have nothing to do with me. So she ain't make this album for me. And then it became about, well, what about us conversation. And automatically the first thought to me was, well, for one, honestly, the music industry, and this is my theory, this is my hypothesis, the music has been centered around women and marketed towards them. The songs are written about them in order to engage them and to make them move. We all know DJs, R-Tistic, you can back me up on this. When the women start moving and start dancing, that's when the men follow. And so it kind of was like, I hear what you're saying, bro, but not right now. This ain't about you. Kind of just enjoy the show. If somebody pulls you out on the dance floor, enjoy that. But what is your take on that, on his hot take on this whole renaissance?
I'm surprised I haven't seen that, because I would have had to light him up, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what is the point? Like, even when I'm DJing, like, I'm not gonna say that I solely cater to women, but it's 90% of everything I play. Maybe I'll even say 95% of everything I play is, even if it's not catered to women for every single song, I'm never gonna play anything that's not catered to them, that turns them off, that makes them, that, you know, makes them sit down, basically. Like the club, as you said, it's all about what women are into. And I guess he's speaking sonically. Is he talking more about the themes? Is he talking about the content or the sonic production of it being ballroom and being of, if he's talking about the sound of it in that sense, it's like, I don't care what he's saying. I feel like, because one thing I can say, so basically, not sure if you want me to go this far yet, but just from what I've been seeing, the response from when I play it, it's really for the women, and of course, like the gay men love it too. As far as the hetero men, just from what I watch, they don't mind, because it's women dancing. Like who cares how ballroom it is? Who cares if it's 10 girls dancing and their 2 gay cousins or homies hitting the Vogue one time? You're still seeing women dance to it, and it's like, why would you be mad? Like, I can go dreams and nightmares in 15 minutes. Just chill. Go get a drink. Go buy them a drink. They're going to be tired by the time they finish dancing to it. So make sure you got them a water and a tequila shot so you can have both. Keep them hydrated. Like, why are you mad at them for having that moment? So to me, I could care less if men are not vibing to it. And it is funny, because a lot of times when I DJ, the funniest moment I can think of was a couple years ago. I'm doing a day party that was all day. Like the last hour, I'm done playing all the hype, new trap, hood, whatever. I'm just going sexy. I'm playing Prince. The women got up more hype than they got the whole night. I'm playing Kiss. And one dude walked up, "Hey man, can you play some Moneybagg Yo?" And my response, I didn't say anything verbally. I just pointed. And there's nothing but women dancing. He was like, all right, I get you. I'm like, yeah, like, why would I play Moneybagg Yo right now? What the fuck is your problem? Like, that don't make any sense. Like, at least say Drake or Chris Brown, but Moneybagg, you want me to play Time Today after Prince Kiss? That don't make any sense. So a lot of times I feel like it's funny, because sometimes guys are just all about that. And it's where I've done parties where one issue is that when it comes to a bottle service type club, they want you to play nothing but what caters to the men, because they're spending money. But it's like, if I'm playing nothing but stuff for the men, the women aren't dancing. They're just sitting there bored. And I've done parties where, like, I'm looking and it's just like, I'm playing these trap songs and the women are just kind of halfway into it. They like this one hook. They on their cell phone, but they put their cell phone down and they look bored. It's like, I'm playing something for them, and then I play stuff for them. And the bottle poppers feel like, well, we spending money. We the ones who paying for them to be here. So you got to carry to us. And I'm like, no, it's not about y'all. Like, if I keep playing what y'all want to hear, they're going to leave. So I don't care why
You know what this is? Okay, so this is bringing up exactly what I have experienced when I go into the clubs. So one, let me say I'm a dancer. I literally go to the club to dance. And I'm very, very specific about, like, I need them BPMs to be just right. I need your blends to be just right. I need you to take me on a journey. I need to know that you got me on my experience, right? And if there's one thing that I want brothers to know, and this is in response to that tweet and the other feelings that are kind of out there. So I've finally listened to Renaissance, and it just sounds dope. Like, I would dance to these songs. Like, I would dance to the songs because they're like dope they're like just dope songs. And I want us to be free enough to dance to just dance. Like, I grew up where the stuff that we was just dancing to, like those joints that brothers wouldn't dance to. Now I'm like, but like my dad was dancing to that. Like my dad and my mom was dancing to that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want us to like leave it behind and be like, listen, go out there and dance with her. She's dancing right now. She may want you to come out there, but you have to be free enough to go out there and move.
It's where, I mean, because things have changed so much the last 15, 20 years. Like, I first started going to those, like, college clubs and even high school clubs. Like, I was going to high school clubs in LA in 01, 02, whatever, and it's where everything has changed so much from the fact that clubs have downsized. It's not about dance floors. It's about bottle service. It's so many clubs I've been to, even like my boy Peanut does, Revel in Atlanta. It's literally nowhere to stand except for if you have a table in a section. Like I went there solo, and I was like, where do I go? It's a bar. If I'm not in the booth with him, terrible. It's just a bar. And it's just like, it's all the bottle service. And hookah. It's just all about hookah.
Get rid of them. I don't know what the hookahs everywhere.
I don't even get... I'm gonna sound old, but I don't even get the point of feeling lightheaded from hookah. But anyway, it's just like it's the fact that like it's that so people are just not used to dancing because it's a combination of these places being bottle service along with the music. The last 10, 12 years, it's like, of course, I grew up I love the trap stuff from back in the day, and I love the crunk music, and even with crunk versus trap, if you think about that difference of like, we call T.I. had trap music in 03, 05 is when you really started calling what Jeezy did trap, but the last 10, 12 years is what you really see as the trap era. Even when Jeezy came out, that was fresh out the crunk era. Even with crunk, mid-2000s, you might not be dancing with a chick, but it was still energy. You still jumping around, dancing, pushing, elbowing. But the trap era is more so along with the hookah and just like the cell phone, Instagram era where you just kind of vibing to it. You're not really there dancing. So a lot of times folks don't even know how to just dance to a song. So it's just the music has changed so much that now it's created a clash because even back then when you had the crunk song, you had the Nuck If You Bucks and the We Ready, all those songs, but you also had the R&B version of that with like a Sierra doing you heard the Cherish doing Do It To It, where it's still a crunk-ish type of production. And then on the flip side of the crunk, you had the upbeat, the Lil Jon Ying Yang Twin songs, which is still Lil Jon, but it's a whole different tempo, so you dancing to it. The last 10 years is where you just have these trap type songs where it's like, even when you have an R&B song that's more of a trap song, it's still more vibey. Like you can't really hear Bryson Tiller in the club unless it's the last 10 minutes. You know, it's a sing-along. So it's where people are just not used to having dancing music. The only songs that really were made for dancing the last 5, 6 years are like blatantly polar opposite. When it's these songs for more so for kids, when it's the Whip and Nene, when it's the You Your Daddy's
instructional
son.
songs.
Yeah, instructional. So
instructional songs.
There's instructional, or is it a vibey song? So it's just like until the women came back the last 3, 4 years with all these more upbeat songs with the City Girls, Lakia, and Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi. Until that era came, a lot of folks are just not even used to dancing. So, and speaking of what Beyonce is doing with these songs that had that house influence, that's what it was. The early '90s. I'm too young to even know about dancing to the house and those types of like the Crystal Waters. I knew Crystal Waters 100% Pure Love from watching Video Soul in '94, but I never was at a party hearing it to dance to it. So even that's kind of new to me. I don't even know what dance moves to do to these. I saw a video of a dude
Get your life. Get your life.
All I know is I can two-step. So, yeah.
There was a lot of, let me just put it like this. There was a lot of powder sprinkled on the floor, a lot of stretching, a lot of just making sure you had first of all, nobody cared about what they looked like after you finished dancing. You know, we definitely care more about how we present and how we look when we're in these functions now that nobody is paying attention to or releasing themselves to the music, which is a shame, you know, because people are missing out. I believe on a philosophical level that especially if Black men gave themselves more permission to free themselves, to allow themselves to enjoy things, to, you know, enjoy simple things like a song, then there might be a reduction in violence. There'll be a reduction in, you know, violence towards each other and hate and whatnot. But, you know, that's just me and my hippie vibes thinking about these certain things on that level. But it's just really, to, you know, about what you were saying earlier, just getting people to open their minds to coming out of that box. Like I said, Drake tried it. Drake gave them some up tempos, and it's not the first time he's done up tempos.
It's not at all.
But people, you know, all of a sudden were treating him like, what is this? And then, you know, Beyonce came along with it, and so they feel like the whole music industry is trying to, you know, turn things upside down, trying to erase them, because there's already a lot, because the larger culture has become a little bit more accepting and inclusive of different people and different segments of the community. A lot of cis hetero men feel like they're being erased and that nobody caters to them anymore. So it's just it's kind of a weird place to be in, because it's not true, because this is all black music. This is all for black. Us.
I mean, it was a whole period, like the whole Nicki Minaj era, going from like 2009 to, I would say, 2017. Like, she was probably the only woman you really heard consistently at the club. Like, so for a guy to complain about a woman making music for the women, why are you complaining? I feel like, I remember just thinking about, like, obviously 90s, 2000s had a million women. In the last 4 or 5 years have. But to me, before Bodak Yellow, it was like, I can't name 3 big songs from women rappers, and barely even any R&B songs that were big in the club the whole decade until Bodak Yellow came. So it's like, now that things are shifting, and it's like you have a lot more songs from women. Like, I'm always playing that Doechii, Persuasive, like excuse me, all these songs are just gigging. It's changed the tempo up. So it's like, now I'm doing sets where I can go Break My Soul, Doechii, Lakia, Mind Your Business. Then I might go into some the throwbacks. I might go into the Crystal Waters and the Show Me Loves and those. And then I can go 2000. I can go into the Lloyd, when Lloyd had the song, you know, with Young Jock, the Get It Shorty. I can go Sexual Seduction again. Like, it's just kind of bringing back that up tempo type of vibe, where it's like, that's a whole different set now. So I don't have to just stay stuck in 70 BPM the whole night.
Well, you know, and what's interesting about, and I'm gonna be an old man for a second. So I didn't have a chance to dance to the 2 songs that I'm going to mention when I was a kid, but what I do know is Johnny Ray Cornegay Jr., my dad owned these records. So I'm thinking of like Climax, Meeting in the Ladies' Room.
Yeah.
Brothers they had to be dancing. One, my dad owned it, right? Like, that was a joint for him. He's like, that joint funky as all get out. Like that.
Yeah.
Call Me by Sky, which goes so hard today. It goes hard.
All those Evelyn Champagne
King, all of them songs, like, these are definitely songs with themes where women are singing songs that appeal to them. But at the same time, I know that men were dancing to it too, because I know men who own these records. So
Easy.
It's like, how do we I really want us to get back to that. And I do like that you brought in, because I didn't think about this, because, you know, I've been my age for my entire life. And you brought up the fact of, like, folks don't know how to dance to this stuff. And I get that. Like, I grew up when we danced real hard in the 90s. Like, you seen them videos.
We had dances. Sure. They had names and everything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like it's all different types of things. Live is regional too, because I feel like one thing with Beyonce doing a lot of this house type music is that I didn't personally know that black folks even created house till 20 years ago, because I grew up in LA, where when we heard anything that sounded like house, for one, a lot of folks called it techno and still call it techno, because on Power 106 in the early 90s, you heard techno a whole lot, but you didn't really hear house in the same sense. But overall, I didn't realize that music was even for, I would say, from us. So even when I remember the Crystal Water songs, I remember Show Me Love, but I saw that as, okay, black folks are making music that Madonna was making. I didn't realize that came from us. So it's like,
took it from us.
Yeah. So it's like, looking back, it's where it's regional, because the East Coast, like, I learned that because my folks from Jersey and Chicago and Detroit and Philly were telling me, no, we used to party to this type of music. I didn't know what percolator was till 02, 03, and I heard that at FAMU, and I'm like, this is a weird beat, and I love it. I don't know what I'm listening to, but this is fire. So it's like, it's regional too, and I'm realizing that even with Beyonce's album, it's regional, and I don't like saying class in that sense, but it's a class element too, where it's received at. Because even when I posted today about Beyonce making this upbeat music, my boy Spider-Man's a DJ out in Memphis. He was like too bad it ain't gonna work in Memphis because Memphis, all they want to do is turn up, and turn up to them means just trap and twerk music all night. It's not gonna work as good in certain cities, but more so when it's to me, it's not gonna work for hood crowds as much. So if I'm going to a hood crowd, whether it's Atlanta, Texas, or LA, or New York, I'm not gonna expect to hear it. And if I'm doing a hood club, I'm probably not gonna play too much of the Beyonce album. But whenever I have a crowd that's more of what we jokingly call the brunch crowd, the brunch boot crowd, or
the champagne crowd,
an HBCU crowd, it's gonna work way better with that crowd. So there is a big division with that with black crowds too. It's definitely when I go to a hood club versus a trendy club versus a HBCU / brunch / however you want to chop it up crowd. That's three totally separate crowds. It's certain songs that could work in all three. It's certain songs that can only work in one or two of those. So with Beyonce, it's only gonna work in one or two of those.
Yeah, and you know, and what's interesting, thank you so much for your insight, because it also reminds me, and Sir Daniel, you know this too, like that's always been true. Like there was certain, there's nothing new at all. Like there was certain joints that, to your point, could cross over into like multiple environments, but you probably wasn't dropping like the Barry White joint at the same club you was playing the Parliament joint, because the people that was expecting one probably weren't doing the other, or was this a different vibe? You know what I'm saying? And especially I started thinking of things like Go-Go in DC.
Go-Go, DC, easy.
You know what I'm saying? So there's like particular crowds that would be like,
go to Baltimore. Baltimore, 45 minutes away. You don't even hear Go-Go Baltimore.
Absolutely. So it's always been a different, and what I truly think, and Sir Daniel, I've talked to Sir Daniel about this. First of all, white women vocalists have been doing exactly what Beyonce and Drake did for decades. They get international acclaim for these dance records, and they be going off. I own so many, like Jessie Ware's last album, sick. All disco and house music. She got all the acclaim in the world. And I'm like, it's an international thing to do. Like they've always known, like you fall off a little bit, do a disco record in the 2010s, and you probably gonna win internationally because it's what happens. Like, because outside of the US, this stuff, house and disco, has kept going. It never stopped.
Not at all. It evolves a little bit. They kind of change the sound up a little bit, but and one thing too with that, as far as it being different crowds, like I'm thinking about even like when I first started DJing, it took me a minute to realize that being at FAMU, this is a college FAMU student crowd. There's a hood local crowd, and like I mentioned it on Twitter last week, like the first time I realized a radio hit versus a club hit, because it's like I remember 08, the biggest song on radio was that Usher and Jeezy, that Love in This Club. So I'm doing more of a hood club, Florida. So I'm playing more of the Florida local stuff and had them going. I played some random LA songs that they didn't know, but they fit because it was still an upbeat, kind of twerking type, whatever it was. It worked. I remember at one point in the night, I said, I ain't played that Usher yet. That's the biggest song. I played the Usher. That was the song that cleared the floor out. Completely killed the mood. And it hit me like, this is a hood crowd. This ain't really like a college crowd. And it's not a radio crowd. It's not a commercial crowd. So that crowd completely killed it to where it wasn't even people mad. It was just like, all right, it's time to go. Like they left the room. And I'm like, so crowds have always been different. And the funny thing, before I move on, is that thinking about the 90s, like one thing about us being older, like we're all guilty. We all love saying the 90s was so dope because we had Wu-Tang, Snoop, Mary J, Jodeci, TLC. Back then, nobody liked all those groups at the same time. Right. Nobody loved all of them at the same time. You didn't love Black Moon and No Limit and Sugar Free from LA and UGK and Be More Club and Go-Go. No. You love what you love, and you probably hated other stuff. You like it now because we older and we appreciate it, but kind of the same thing happens now. It's where people who love Beyonce album might not love this, I'm not going to say Lil Baby because he's commercial, but it might be a local Atlanta rapper who they don't love as much. Even like NBA Youngboy. Youngboy is huge with the kids, but you play him for a 30 and up crowd, they don't know.
I'll be like, I heard this, but I don't want to dance to it.
Exactly.
Who is this young man? What is he saying?
What is he saying?
NFL young man, whoever he is. That's how it is.
But to your point, R-Tistic, you're absolutely right, and that's what makes what we do a service to the community, because so many of us make different types of music, and we need to be able to celebrate it all and provide spaces for all of these different brands of music to be celebrated, and to and I think we just got to keep doing what we do, and hopefully people find some release and find some peace in what one of us is playing. If it's me doing all vinyl or doing R&B slow jams, or you playing it at a hood club in LA, whatever it takes, hopefully the artists get appreciated and the crowds get the release that they need, because we're still going through it. J Ray and I were talking off the air about how these past few years people physically are tired because of everything that's been going on, from the pandemic.
This decade, man.
Physically worn out, and the only that's why people had such a strong reaction to Renaissance.
Yeah,
because
it's a release.
It's a release, and it takes them out of their reality.
Yep.
And we have to respect that. If nothing else, if we could just respect that about each other, and let people enjoy. I love this. That's a Twitter saying, "Let people enjoy things," and that's very true. Let people enjoy things. And, you may not. It may not be your taste, but let people enjoy things. Yeah. We're all trying to, make it to the next day, because we just don't know what's around the corner. And hopefully your friendly neighborhood DJ R-Tistic or Sir Daniel can help you get through that.
That's all we're here for.
Yeah, man.
That's what we're here for. We are that bridge between the artist and the crowd. So
R-Tistic, this has been like super dope having you here, having your perspective. I knew you would be the perfect person for this show, for this episode. Please let the people know where they can find you and how they can keep up with you and come party with you.
Oh, for sure. Follow me Instagram, Twitter at DJ R-Tistic. I'm on Twitch under R-Tistic 310. I'm based in LA, but I'm always traveling, so I always post wherever I'll be at on there. So I'll be at, of course, FAMU Homecoming. I'll be in Miami for Labor Day. New Year's Eve, I might be out the country. We'll see about that. But just whenever you're in LA, I'm at the Dime each and every Monday. Monday probably sounds random, but that's why it's popping, because LA people don't have real jobs, so they be partying every night of the week. So it's like they'll be there till 2:30 a.m. So yeah. So no, appreciate y'all for having me, for sure.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Man. Yeah. Absolutely. J Ray.
So check it, y'all. And next time I'm in LA, R-Tistic, I'll make sure that I stop out there. I've been in LA twice before, never going twice this year. So I have to come back out to LA again.
Same. I've been threatening to head out there myself.
Yeah.
Gotta make it happen there. Yeah. Make it happen.
Oh, we gotta I'm percolating. We gotta do a thing.
We gotta see the homie Daryl.
We gotta see Daryl is out there. It's a lot.
You got folks out here,
and I have to see if Kipper
with you too. Bring EB from New York. Make EB come from New York too. Make him fly out. Yeah,
if we can get him away from his Reby Jackson CD, his Reby Jackson centipede moment.
He loves a centipede.
But no, for sure.
Centipede. Yeah.
We'll see if we can get Kipper on that too. Kipper's from LA as well, so
Okay.
So, folks, make sure that you, of course, are following Q Points. Make sure that you subscribe to Q Points on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, and on Spotify. Make sure that you leave us a star rating and a review. It really does help us to spread the word about the show and, tell people all about it. So make sure that you do that. If you are following us anywhere and you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, I don't subscribe to them on YouTube, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification, because we have separate YouTube content. And if you like, oh my God, this show was really dope, you can leave us a tip. click the button to leave us a tip. That'd be really cool. And if you like, I really, really like them, just become a member, a full-fledged member of Q Points. You get all of our exclusive content, as well as you get to talk to me and Sir Daniel, which is really, really cool. So we're excited. And thank you again, R-Tistic, for being with us today.
Of course, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Oh, if you're in the Metro Atlanta area this weekend, make sure you come out. My crew, my family, Wax Fundamentals, we are getting together at JB's Record Lounge on Saturday for, I think this is the first time we spun together. Is it for the? No, this will be the second time for the year, but we're getting back to where it all began at JB's Record Lounge in the West End. If you follow me, you know exactly where it is. But if you're out there, come on out. There's going to be lots of vinyl specials and sales and whatnot. And we're just going to have a good time, because when we come through on the vinyl, we completely rock out and just have a great time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been a great, great show. Listen, so much. So we appreciate it. DJ Sir Daniel, what do you have to tell the people?
It's what I always say, kids. In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick the needle up or you could let the music play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
I am J Ray. And this is DJ R-Tistic.
That's me. I'm R-Tistic. Signing out. Appreciate y'all.
And this has been Q Points. We will see you